Hello everyone, welcome to Lucie's Vision. I am Lucie, your seer. So today's video is information digest, clarification on the Corey Miller situation, his case, and who he was and who he is. I'm going to clarify a few things that I mentioned regarding Corey Miller, who he is, what I found out about the case that he was in, and like what happened to him and all that. So if you guys can recall when I said that back in 2001, he was arrested for attempted second-degree murder because he was accused of attempting to shoot a club owner and a bouncer back in August 15, 2001 at Club Rags. I mentioned this before. I didn't know that this was actually caught on camera. I actually saw the footage of this happening, so that was actually shown. That was the evidence that was shown that he did do this, but he did serve time for this crime because he was found guilty. I wanted to clarify that because I had that part wrong, but he was found guilty because he was already serving time for the 2002 case, which I was basically describing. The 2002 case where he was arrested for murdering the victim Stephen Thomas, the 16-year-old victim Stephen Thomas. So he's arrested for that, and he spent time in prison already when he was found guilty for the 2001. He was found guilty and he was sentenced to 10 years in prison, which he already served that the time that he was found guilty. So he was, yeah, we got that. And the second thing I wanted to clarify, things that I was not aware of. When it comes to Corey Miller, he was someone who, you know, obtained a lot of growth in his life, a lot of riches. He had a mansion, he has cars, he had fame, all that. But he was still going back to his hood, which was the Callio projects in Louisiana. And he just kept going back, and he would always visit to the point where he got his own place there. He literally got his own apartment there for him and his friends. That's how much he loved this neighborhood, even though it was a bad neighborhood, a bad upbringing for him. He still couldn't let it go. I wanted to clarify that because it showcased who he was as a person. Like, he had love for people. Like, it didn't matter like how much riches, fame that he obtained, he still have love from, you know, for those people that he grew up around and respected. But the thing I will say about that is that I feel like that basically held him back. It held him back because of that. Like, it was hard for him to let go of that lifestyle because that lifestyle was very, very toxic. And I feel like him being surrounded by that type of environment shaped his mentality as well, because he wasn't able to let go. And I'm here for, you know, respecting, you know, having love for where you came from, you know, not forgetting where you came from, and which is great. But he like went above and beyond and not realizing that that was his downfall, because he kept holding on to that lifestyle. And that was used against him. At the end of the day, it was used against him. The way that he moved back then, the associates that he hung out with. Because remember, I clarified that they used his name, C Murder, against him, which they used like his lyrics that he had for his raps against him, talk about, oh, he's affiliated with gangs, you know, the CP3. So they used that against him because of how he was moving, how he was still around that neighborhood, that environment, and he wasn't able to let go. And it's quite sad, because I feel like he was a genuine person and he was someone who had a big heart, but it was just hard for him to let go of that lifestyle. But I do believe he is innocent for the 2002 case. For the 2001 case, it was caught on camera, so it's kind of self-explanatory. But he did serve his time for that crime. He was found guilty, and he served 10 years already for the 2002 case. But they gave him credit for the 2001 because he already served time. So that was the information digest I wanted to update on that. Oh yeah, after the 2003 case, remember I mentioned that 2003 case was his first trial for the 2002 allegation that he murdered Stephen Thomas. The 2003 was the trial for that, the first one. The first trial was overturned by the judge because the prosecutor failed to disclose their witness background, the criminal background that they had. So the judge overturned that case. So that's why it was overturned. So after that case was overturned, C. Murder was put on house arrest until his next trial which was back in 2009. That was the second trial. So he was put on house arrest, and his defense team hired a investigator. Her name was, I've written down her name. Give me one second. It was Jennifer Richmond, I believe. Yeah, Jennifer Richmond. She was the investigator that investigated his case to figure out like if there was any evidence of like if he did it or not. And this is a defense team investigators, and she found no evidence to point to Corey Miller of doing this. Like there was no evidence at all. All the prosecutor had was a witness that they tricked. Mind you, Darnell Jordan, I already mentioned about that. They tricked him into identifying Corey Miller. Well, he identified Corey Miller because they asked him, who do you know? They showed him pictures, and they asked him, who do you know? And he selected Corey Miller. Mind you, Corey Miller was very famous back then. So, of course, he may have, like, recognized who he was. They also had him sign something. He did not read what he signed, because if he read it, he would know they tricked him, and it was already too late when he found that out. So what he signed was that Corey Miller shot Stephen Thomas, basically. So Darnell Jordan came back in 2018 and said that he was coerced, he was intimidated by the prosecutors to sign that paper or to testify against Corey Miller. He was tricked to sign the paper, but he was coerced to testify against Corey Miller. So that's what he claims back in 2018. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that part when it came to the Darnell Jordan thing. So yeah, Jennifer Richmond, she investigated the case and she found no evidence. Nothing at all. All they had was the witness for the prosecutor, and the prosecutor witness said that he was tricked. So they didn't have no evidence. So it's a very, very weird case. That's all I wanted to say. That's the information digest. Yeah, and I have a picture of Stephen Thomas this time. You guys can see it later on. Bye.